Josh, you sad over this Diggs trade, man?
Yeah, I mean, they're like
all over your face.
Yeah, you're just sitting here. He's glowing
like,
about the trade and everything. And yeah,
it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't make sense. The one thing I can say is after this year, we were not getting a second round pick. Getting a second round pick, getting that kind of compensation for him, I'm not upset about. But just to get worse when you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you get worse. You make a team that's going to be one of your top. Not to really hate on any of these teams because there is a whole draft left, but like even with the Derrick Henry addition, Baltimore, I feel like got worse. They lost half their offensive line, which was the strength of their team. They lost a lot of their role players on defense. Geno Stone left. You got the Bengals who might have to give up T. Higgins and they losing Tyler Boyd. A lot of these teams that we were competing with were getting worse, and the Texans were already getting better. And then you just give them Diggs.
Yeah.
And for them, I think it was great initially. You turn a first round pick, like he said, basically into a second round pick in Diggs. The move to cut the team control really confuses me. I don't understand that at all. But just on the Bill side, it's like you're not going to be better next year. It's simple as that. Like you're worse next year. You're paying him more than you would pay him to be on the team. We would have paid him. Right. I think the cap hit would have been $28 million with him on the team. And now that we traded him, it's going to be almost $32 million. So you're getting no relief this year. You are getting some relief in the future, but you could have done that just by cutting him next year. And then, okay, I guess you don't get the second round pick. So that's why I say the trade up like has to happen, in my opinion. If we waited until 28 and we kept Diggs on the team, I would be okay with getting a project. I think Adonai Mitchell's a little bit more of a project. I think he has a lot of similarities with Thomas, but Thomas is, I think, ready to be a main contributor next year. I think AD Mitchell would do really well if we had Diggs on our team. Like all you need him to do is run straight and go up and make big plays for that year, and then you could develop him. Now you can't afford that. You can't afford to have the best receiver on your team be a rookie that you don't even know. He might be a little raw. You can't afford that now. You got your second for Diggs. Use it. Like realistically, like, would you rather have, and anyone can be a bust and this could end up being a terrible take, but
trust me, I was there just literally 2 weeks ago. I said he wasn't getting traded.
I think everyone did. I think that's the reason no one's really getting picked on, because everyone thought that.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, as a Bills fan, would you rather have, it's not like you're the Cardinals where you need 100 different things. The more draft capital you get, the better.
Yep.
Would you rather have Brian Thomas, which is almost consensus the number 4 receiver in a draft where he could have been probably number 1 or 2 in a lot of these drafts if you take away Marvin fucking Neighbors and Adunze, who all 3 can legitimately be generational talents. For him to be like the clear number 1 after those guys, would you rather have that as a Bills fan, or would you rather get AD Mitchell and an okay player in the second round? I mean, sure, you can hit in the second round, but as history shows, you get past the 15th pick in the first round, it's a drastic dip in whether you're going to have a future All-Pro or not. You get into the second round, it's another dip between the first rounders and the second rounders. Just, in my opinion, you traded your guy, take that asset you got from trading your guy, and go get your other guy. So that's it. Just, if we don't trade up to get a receiver, I think we lost completely. I think it was a terrible trade. You paid a ton of money to a guy not being on your team. You replaced him with a raw rookie, and you called it a day. And Josh Allen's now going out there throwing to Curtis Samuel and a rookie who might not be as polished as he needs to be.
Mac Hollins.
Love Mac Hollins as the 5th best receiver on a team. Like,
yeah, we'll definitely see how this thing goes. So, Brother Bren, what's your whole thoughts on the situation, bro? Like, where do you stand? Because like Josh was saying, I don't know. I sort of sit on both sides of the fence with this, because it depends how it works out at the end of the day. It depends on what the results are, how they do this year, who they get, this and that. But what's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one, because like I see where we had to get rid of him. Not had to, because like the last few seasons he's been kind of complaining like, "Oh, get me out," but like,
give me the ball.
I didn't say it, So there's that. And then just we got rid of half of our team. Then Diggs was probably like, this ain't Super Bowl winning team. Get me out.
Well, I think so. What really sparked it, which I don't know if it's just ironic the way, like the timing of everything, but The night before the trade even happened, which allegedly Brandon Beane said in his press conference has sort of been in the works for a couple weeks, but this might have been just like to
Boom.
cap it off. The night before the trade, I think it was RG3. He made a video or said something about Stefon Diggs and Josh Allen relationship or something to do with the Buffalo Bills and what they got going on. And then a random fan responded. He goes, "Is Stefon Diggs essential to Josh Allen's success?" I forgot what he says. I don't know.
He basically said, does Josh Allen benefit from having Stefon Diggs on his team? Yes. Is he essential to his success? No.
Yes. And then Diggs actually seen it and responded, "You sure about that? You sure about that?" So I think maybe Brandon, maybe that was the tip point. He's like, all right, we're fucking done with this bullshit. Even though I do think over the past couple of years, like you just said, Brother Brandon, the tension's been building up behind the scenes. Even just his relationship with Josh Allen. Now allegedly it's been reported that week one, their loss to the Jets on Monday Night Football, Josh Allen or Diggs was losing his shit, and Josh Allen's just like, bro, it's just one fucking game.
Well, I'm always on the side of Josh Allen in these spats. Because it's as much as Stefon Diggs complains, like how many receivers were in a better position than Stefon Diggs consistently over the last 4 years? He was consistent before the last 8 weeks of last season or 10 weeks or whatever it was. He was one of the most targeted receivers in the NFL. He was at the top of almost all the statistical leaderboards in the NFL. You were playing on a team that was perennially a Super Bowl contender. You were playing with a guy who, if you hate him, you put him at 5, and if you love him, you put him at 2. What else could you ask for? I know you really want to win a Super Bowl, and I know you're a competitor, and everyone on that team wants to win a Super Bowl. But guess what? Only one team does it every year, and if you're not the Chiefs, so 3 teams have done it in 5 years. You have no, and a lot of us not succeeding is tied to your stats in those games. Josh Allen's playoff stats are fine. Josh Allen shows up in the playoffs. Yes, it is not Josh Allen's fault that we lose any of these games. So, and then another thing that Josh Allen haters love to point out is, okay, Josh Allen was kind of sucked before Diggs got there. Well, guess what? It was his first 2 years of his career. A lot of guys sucked their first 2 years of their career. Stefon Diggs had been in the NFL 4 years at that point and hardly broke 1,000 yards. Stefon Diggs went into the stratosphere with Josh Allen, just like Josh Allen went into the stratosphere. They were both
hand in hand.
They were both they were both very much a part of each other's success. I'm not mad at my receiver having an ego and wanting the ball more. I actually like that. I think
that's what I'm saying. I feel like
the best receivers are nut jobs.
Yeah, every team needs that edge to him, bro.
The thing with Diggs, the only thing that ever bothered me was him kind of trying to kind of blame the quarterback play when it's like Josh Allen's. You can say whatever you want. He cannot beat Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. Almost no one can. I mean, his stats are there. He becomes a better quarterback in the playoffs. And as good as he is in the regular season, his playoff stats are even better.
And I'll say, though, in those crucial moments, you could even look back at some. I know, especially recency bias, and also like being in the stadium, seeing it. There was a couple times that Josh Allen could have thrown it to someone else, but that's just a read you make on the fly. But like, okay, maybe he did miss Diggs 1 or 2 plays, but also when he does target Diggs, he drops a pass that he normally used to catch.
He dropped. I get the last play of the playoff game. You could have hit Diggs for the easy first down, and you tried to get it to Shakir. He kind of got banged in.
Which Shakir was there too.
I argue that was the right decision because even though Diggs was more open, Shakir was open enough. Like we've seen Josh Allen make that throw 100 times. It was a bang play. He kind of got banged, kind of got hit, and it put the ball off trajectory. Bang. But we don't even talk about that play if Diggs does what he has to do a couple plays beforehand.
100%.
So to act that way, and then when the moment comes, the biggest play since the 13 seconds game, that was the biggest play. And it goes to you. You did everything you needed to do. You get open. Josh Allen makes a great escape plan play, gets the ball to you, and you drop it. So it sucks that that's going to be like the lasting image of that duo that otherwise was probably the best duo of the last 4 years. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Pat Mahomes was better, but Tyreek Hill's been gone for a while. Adams and Rodgers, amazing duo, but they've been broken up for a couple years now. The last 4 years, the most consistent duo together, the stats they put up was amazing, and it sucks that they both kind of fell short in the big moments. But Diggs needs to take responsibility more than he needs to put it on other people, in my opinion.
100% agree. You could even argue I feel confident saying this best Bills wide receiver of all time.
Yeah, I mean yeah.
I mean,
Easily.
the numbers prove it too.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but I know if we looked it up, it'll prove it.
I think numbers are inflated with the way the game's played now, but
Sure,
even just the eye test.
There's a good stat for everything now.
Yeah, like I mean, Matt Ryan's like a top 10 passer ever. He's not a top 10 quarterback ever. But like
I follow.
But even the eye test proves what the numbers show. He is the best receiver we've ever had.
But I think in this situation, like, okay, we're gonna learn a little bit more about Josh Allen and where he's at in this stage of his career. Because, like you said, obviously rookie quarterback, first 2 years wasn't great, but it was hand to hand when Stefon Diggs came in. They both had major success together. Because even like you mentioned, Diggs he wasn't really that number one receiver we see him as these past couple seasons. So now they're split, parted ways. We're going to learn a lot about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills this season. Obviously, they took weapons away from him, so we'll see how he bounces back from that and performs with that. And also Stefon Diggs. Obviously, behind the scenes, I'm sure shit hit the fan quick, as we know now. But we're going to see his attitude now. Like, he's not going to be that number one no more, in my opinion. And a lot of people would agree with that. So we'll see how he reacts to not being that number one target, essentially being third fiddle, maybe even fourth. Who the fuck knows?
I'd say two.
Even if Cody Stoots, like he mentioned, if they go after another guy or something, who knows how it's going to play out. But some games, we'll see how it falls out. And they're going to tell him, yo, you got to buy in, or like, we work this way out just in case this shit does happen. You're out of here. So